I'll go ahead and invite our speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, our session moderator is none other than Max Avtukov, who is the CEO of Yango Tech. Will be spearheading this amazing session with our phenomenal speakers. We have with us Rahul Pabreja, co-founder of the Farmers Store, Manish Bandlish, Managing Director, Mother Dairy, Naman Mavandia, co-founder, Magic Pin, Anand Ramanathan, consulting, my apologies, Anand Ramanathan, partner, consumer industry leader, consulting Deloitte India, and Sachin Agarwal, COO, Nature's Basket Limited. All right, a quick request to our previous set of speakers and our audience, if you can take the discussion offline. We're about to, meanwhile, get the session started, and I'm going to quickly hand over the proceedings to Max. Over to you then.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. Okay, all set. Let's get it started. So my name is Max Avtukov. I'm CEO of Yango Tech. We are a global company that provides technologies to retailers, ranging from end-to-end solutions for grocery to WMS to client experiences, last mile solutions, supply chain, and so on. So nowadays, our technologies power about 500 dark stores with accumulated GMV of $1.3 billion. So let me switch to our distinguished panel of experts. So first, let me introduce Rahul Pabreja, co-founder of the Farmers Store. We also have Manish Bandlish, managing director of Mother Dairy. Naman Navandia, co-founder of Magic Pin, Sachin Agarwal, CEO of Nature's Basket, and Anand Ramanathan, partner of consumer industry practice Deloitte. Let me ask each to present yourself. Like Rahul, would you be so kind to tell briefly about your company and yourself?
Hi, I'm Rahul. I'm the founder of the Farmers Store. We are a small organic grocery store chain. We're online and offline. We have a couple of stores in Mumbai. And yeah, we're like one-stop shops, completely all organic, neighborhood stores, small format.
Over to you, Manish.
Thank you. My name is Manish. I basically head the Mother Dairy business in India. Mother Dairy, as some of you may know, we are almost a 50-year-old organization. And today we stand at around 15,000 crores of turnover, largely into three businesses. One is dairy, which is our major part. Second is into edible oils under the brand name of Dhara. And the third is Safal, where we do fruits and vegetables, processing, and many other businesses. Fairly complicated, but at the same time, our purpose is to basically service the farmer so that their farmer income increases on a day-to-day basis, and also serve our consumers with a product which is of great quality and affordable price. A little conflicting objectives, but that's how I manage it. Thank you.
Over to you, Naman.
Hi, I'm Naman. I'm the co-founder of Magic Pin. We started Magic Pin now 8 years back. The idea behind Magic Pin was that the retail market in India is very large. It's $1 trillion market across categories. And the offline market at that point of time was 95%. Only 5% was online. But everyone was moving online, right? Marketplaces were coming out. But we said India will continue to be an offline-dominated market where consumers will continue to shop offline. So what we did was we brought the hyper-local market alive for a user. So we took all the stores in a market across categories from food to fashion to grocery to pharmacy, electronics, online, on the phone of a user to discover what's in the store and send the consumer to the store. So we are a super app that is driving business to offline partners, to almost 200,000 partners across the retail market in India today.
Thank you. Over to you, Sachin.
Yeah. Hello, this is Sachin from Nature's Basket. So Nature's Basket has been there from last 18 years. We are there in more 6 cities right now. So basically a gourmet destination brand. So, yeah.
And Anand?
Sure, thanks, Max. So Anand Ramanathan, I lead the consumer and retail capability for Deloitte in India. And what does Deloitte do? We help retailers and consumer clients, as well as clients in other sectors, really look at technology these days. There's a lot of digital transformation, the use of data and analytics in business, the entire supply chain overhaul in terms of ensuring seamlessness between physical, virtual. And hence, there's a lot of technology advice, implementation and operates that we currently do. But beyond that, we also provide regulatory, tax, audit, as well as M&A advisory for clients in this space and beyond.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for the introduction. So I would like to open the discussion on the omnichannel. We already mentioned, Naman already mentioned that the grocery market is tremendous, and it's tends to grow multiple times during next coming 5 to 10 years. So how can retailers and market participants keep up with such market evolution? How they can stay relevant? The only answer is the omnichannel experience. And why is it important? Simply because customers demand it. So they want to make shopping on different occasions through different channels with a unified, seamless experience. And regardless whether you started in online or offline, so your future would be offering omnichannel experience. That's what witnessed in other markets, and that's what we already starting to witness in India. So today's topics is a strategy in omnichannel strategy. However, currently only about 10% of retailers adopted the omnichannel strategy in India. And let me switch to the first questions. I would like to ask Anand about the market, about the consumer behaviors. How do you see it? How do you see the current state? And also, how do you see the evolution, like dark stores, in the light of recent events of funding sprees and so on? Yeah.
Great, sure. Thanks, Max. So we very recently, this was in the month of about July, where we released the Future of Retail work that we conducted. So broad headlines, I'll first get the numbers out of the way. The big headlines, Indian retail market expected to double. So it's about 960 billion today, expected to become about 2 trillion by 2030. And again, the big number within that, now I know Raman mentioned that a large part of it is still traditional trade. So India will continue, about 2/3 of it will continue to be GT, right? General trade, multi-brand outlets, small shops. Within e-commerce and modern trade expected to double to about 220 odd billion, while e-commerce is expected to grow 4x, right? It exceeds 300 billion. And now it's not so much modern trade versus e-commerce, but like Max and everybody else has been saying, the entire omni-channel experience, right? So 90% of consumers said they prefer contactless shopping. And we went a little deeper on that to just understand why. And surprisingly, it wasn't convenience, it wasn't many things that we would think. But one of the things that they are saying is that traditional, or at least physical retail, is becoming boring. Right? One of the things they said was that our malls are beginning to look the same. A lot of brands which are present in one mall are present in the other, and hence the shopping experience that India was known for in our high streets, in our markets, some of that is going, right? So this is something which was a headline from that report. The second key aspect was, again, very surprising. Post the pandemic, a lot of online sales happened in certain categories. So this is consumer health, right, where we are talking about supplements, vitamins, minerals, etc. 65% penetration of private labels. And why did this happen? Because there was very little innovation which happened. A lot of innovation actually happened from the D2C players, right? You had them provide propositions, and hence private labels is something that's here to stay. In fact, basis our study, 6x growth compared to 2x in the overall retail market, right? So there is something about the Indian consumer becoming more aware, looking at attributes, brands, etc. So there is a distinct shift from FMCG brands to private labels, and this is across categories. We saw it in beauty, we saw it in personal care, right? And therefore, staples, right? So it's not just food, but it's across the board. So that's the second critical learning that came from the consumer. The third was what Max spoke about. We all say Insta commerce, for example, doesn't make money. How is it going to sustain? Delivery costs are so high. But clearly, consumer preference for it is high. Maybe 10 minutes can become 15 minutes, can become 20 minutes. But can we have a proposition where you have physical stores with a virtual dark store and you have the analytics to predict how to make it more efficient, right? And therefore, the biggest learning, in fact, from a retail standpoint is AI and ML. How is that going to impact retail? I don't think retailers are spending enough on technology. Again, if you look at e-commerce companies, they spend about 4x of what physical retailers spend, right? From a sheer cost of technology to overall revenues. So again, a lot needs to be done in terms of looking at the front end of the business. At the back end, you have the ERP, you have supply chain, you have finance, etc., which is all very well integrated. But on the front end, the scope of platforms and not just products. Can we move to a platform where different products sit and you have a unified way of looking at data, right? To provide that seamless experience to the consumer where one view of the customer, irrespective of which channel he comes from, whether he's buying online or offline, you have visibility on what he has bought. Therefore, you have a 360-degree view of the consumer. You have inventory visibility. You have the scope to send the product from another store if he walks into a store and doesn't find his product there, right? Or you send it home to him, right? So one view of inventory and very important, one consistent view of the product. We speak to a lot of FMCG companies, a lot of CPG companies. Their product looks different in different channels, right? Therefore, can you have one unified way of how the consumer experiences the product, right? So these are all going to be big ticket investments which need to drive this whole concept of personalization, which is a big opportunity, which again came as something which consumers want. And lastly, we speak a lot about sustainability. What consumers are saying on sustainability is that this is Gen X and millennials. 75% of them have either switched or are willing to switch because of reasons of sustainability, right? So very important, while the spends might not reflect the kind of importance that consumers give to sustainability going forward, that's clearly going to be something that Gen X would want, right? And therefore, the need for experiences which are sustainable is something that came out as a critical piece of consumer insight from that study. So I'll pause there. Max, back to you.
Thank you very much. It's a very insightful answer. Then switching to the actual practices of Omnichannel. Sachin, so Nature's Basket is one of the proponents of the Omnichannel experience. And can you tell us about the actual practice, and the actual experience, and also what challenges have you faced and how you seen to overcome them already overcame? So can you tell us more about your experience?
Yeah. So I completely agree with Aman what he said. Currently, everybody is talking about delivering in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's not about delivering in 10, 15 minutes. It's about delivering what all she needs, all 10 what she needs. So I think more focus or more planning should be towards that. Coming to supply chain, which helps us to reduce the write-offs or decreases the cut percentage. Omni-channel, if you see, is still offline versus online. It's about 15%. So 15% is online and still 85% is offline. But what supports to the online is the assortment. The kind of assortment omni-channel physical store can give. Only through a dark store, it's not possible. In a store, say, in a Nature's Basket store, there are more than 8,000 SKUs, and all of them are listed in online. The customer gets that opportunity to get access to all the SKUs and order. So only through a dark store, it's really tough. Secondly, it also shares the cost. If you look at, say if I'm saying 15 to 20% the contribution, so that cost is definitely shared between online and offline, and that makes a value, driven approach, a profitable approach for the, for the brand. So I would say that going ahead, the percentage of share and the bill value of online orders should go up. That can be done by further increasing the assortment and ensuring that what all inventory is there in the offline should be there in the online. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So we understand that like question to Naman. So we have seen a habit of like tier 2, tier 3 cities to continue relying on offline consumption. So Magic Pin has great experience in developing online is those areas outside of metro cities. Naman, how like tier 2 cities differ from metro area, like tier 1 cities from metro area? Um, does it also impact the category selection? How like your like super app experience tells what's the insight?
Yeah, so thanks. Some of the things that I'd say what Anand mentioned, right? As a retailer, how do they use technology? And I think one of the things that we've been able to do is use AI and ML capabilities and our technology platform to allow for retailers to provide the right kind of assortment, have a good understanding of inventory, what to show to the consumer. All of those things is what we are helping a bunch of retailers. Almost 200,000 retailers are today using our technology to become kind of omni-channel in their approach, right? How to show. So from a consumer point of view on omni-channel, to make a good strategy for a retailer, there are three things that are important, right? One, of course, to show the same things on online that's offline. So for a retailer, the assortment is very important. What they show to the consumer, how they show it, how do they customize and personalize basis, let's say, a customer's behavior on a platform. All of those things become important. So there's assortment and what and how they show it. There's price of the product. And third, the service or the logistics and time to kind of deliver that outcome.
On time
right?
and full.
Yeah. So now on each of these, I think what is happening is that a lot of technology is being used by retailers to provide a great experience for the user. So in terms of assortment, they'd be able to show, let's say, a new product that's been launched, that can be shown. A low value SKU that can be shown in areas or geographies or markets where consumers are of a lower spend profile versus showing more premium products to consumers with a higher spend profile. So showing the right product to the consumer, showing a large basket of assortment to the consumer, right? That's what is very important. And a retailer can show it versus what a dark store can show. The second is price, right? Showing the right kind of price, being able to provide, let's say, offers on top of that in terms of bank offers, etc. That's what consumers would like to look at. And on when you are doing it online, it's possible to bring some of those elements into it. The third is logistics, right? If the user has been committed that the product will be delivered in X time, and let's say today it's 10 minutes, but I think on average in 20, 30 minutes, the user is very happy, is okay about it. But once it's promised that it's going to be delivered in so much time, it should be delivered. And then on the back of that, having a good automated, let's say, customer support system that allows to address queries that can come from consumer that the product hasn't been delivered or the right product hasn't been delivered, all of those become pretty important. So that, I think, those are things that are very important from a consumer point of view to provide the right service to the consumer from a retailer when they're thinking of an omni-channel strategy.
Thank you very much. Rahul, so you have a great experience of working with farmers, with sourcing organic products and like developing this like offering. So how can you tell about like the importance of social commerce and interaction with the customers on the different social platforms in connection with the omnichannel strategies?
Right. So I started, mainly I went online maybe a few years ago in COVID. And yes, there's a cannibalization that happens with your customers moving from offline to online. But I definitely saw a bigger increase because of the convenience. I mean, you don't have to deliver in 10, 15 minutes. You can deliver in an hour, 2 hours, and consumers are usually okay with it. With their local stores, you know, it's a local store. What I think I was able to do a little different was I have been able to build a community around, you know, what we do around the organic lifestyle. You speak of social commerce, so we are very active on Instagram, LinkedIn, and such platforms with how we can provide more value to the customer other than just shopping. Because, of course, there are amazing grocery stores, amazing experiences in the malls and in bigger stores. But I think most of the consumers today are online. They are spending more time online, more time on Instagram, more time on such platforms, engaging with other companies' platforms and experiences online. So I do think that social commerce is a thing that is coming brands are going to be built around personal humans and personal brands.
Yeah, it helps build your brand identity, yeah, and communicate directly.
Yeah, and it just, of course, it helps communicating directly and makes everything instant. So, if there's something special that's come in terms of fruits or vegetables, it is an instant reaction when you post about it online, and you will immediately see a sale that will kick off in the stores due to it. And being omni-channel just makes it much easier. You can always put a coupon code or something to get a customer, incentivize him to quickly move to your app and order it right then.
Thank you very much. Manish, Mother Dairy has a vast offline network, and you also are starting to perform in online space. What's your vision towards omnichannel evolution? How you think your company would, in particular, evolve in this space? And do you plan, you are basically a product company, so you first manufacture and then you try to distribute it. So how do you see your own D2C channel evolves? So you're gonna do your own channel, applications and offline stores, or you would rely more on third-party customers and in online, in offline area?
Sure. Thanks, Max. So, Mother Dairy, if I see, while we are available pan-India or most of the cities in which we operate, we are one of the biggest retailers in the city of Delhi and NCR. Not many people know about this. Approximately, we have 2,000 plus distribution centers, or you can say retail counters that we have in Delhi, from which we retail our own products on both dairy and also Safal fruits and vegetables. Now this, as a typical FMCG or a consumer products organization, I think in today's environment, like other esteemed speakers have said, any company does not have a choice but to service our customers from whichever channel today is applicable, because consumers are very, very attached to a particular lifestyle today, with a younger generation especially. Convenience is a big factor which customers are today looking for. So we are definitely into general trade. Our growth in modern trade and e-commerce is stupendous in the last 2-3 years. If I see, we are growing year after year more than 50%. From our own stores, which we have in Delhi, our share of business is very high. I mean, so we keep on expanding our store footprint across Delhi. So that is the offline model that we have, besides the general trade. Looking at the D2C model specifically, which is being referred to, yes, we have a very, very strong advantage of having those 2,000 such centers in Delhi, which most retailers today would kill for. So we are now in the process of exploiting that strength in Delhi NCR especially. We have already tested our app both for Safal and for Mother Dairy, dairy business. We are starting a D2C model because not centrally controlled but controlled at the retail level, so that our customers can be served better. And we will give that choice to the customer. It is a very, very strong strategic lever that we want to drive going forward. And I think with our strength of business, brand, and distribution, we can really gain share out of this business, especially in the markets where we have strength. So as an organization, I think today most of the companies would look at alternate models of distribution depending on how the customer is evolving, and also design product and categories suited to each channel. I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, dear panelists, thank you very much for sharing your insights and answering the questions. So today we've spoken about the omnichannel strategy in different dimensions. We have pointed out that the grocery market itself would grow tremendously. One of the growth pillar, and it's one of the challenges actually, growth itself, is through omnichannel strategies, through offering customers a different customer experience, because they basically demand it. So it's this stage of the evolution when, regardless of the bottom line, you need to basically be presented in each area. However, it's not like going to be like this for every like for forever. So the technologies, the practices would evolve, and the omni-channel experience would be actually more like beneficial. That's what we saw in other markets, more beneficial for the companies, for the like profits and so on. And the key challenge here is again technologies and practices and the growth and so on. So to wrap up the discussion, I would like to ask you to share like a glimpse of the prognosis, how you see the market would evolve. Anand, what your like forecast? What's going to be like in the next 5 years in India?
Sure. So, Max, that's actually a point on how corporates and companies need to reinvent themselves, right? I'll just give you some examples. To deal with omni-channel, the DNA of your firm at times might change. So we were helping an innerwear firm, traditionally distributed through multi-brand outlets, through large format retail, etc. And then you had the advent of the pandemic when they really had to scale up their EBOs, right? Their exclusive brand outlets. They had to scale up e-commerce. And somewhere for a company which was dealing with distributors and not directly with consumers, it was a very different change. Now they were dealing with end consumers, right? And therefore somewhere from a distribution company, they became a retail company. And they needed to understand visual merchandising, retail merchandising. They needed to, for example, their entire marketing became a lot more automated. Right? A lot of their marketing campaigns were now run to individual customers to get them to buy more, right? So the DNA of the firm can change from a distribution firm to a retail firm. So that's a very easy thing to say, but there's a lot of change that needs to happen in the organization itself, right? Because you need to gather data on end consumers, you need to understand what is it that they want, then you need to manage the experience for them, right? So a lot of companies focused on primaries and secondaries. This made them focus on the sellouts and the tertiaries, right? So that's the important part. Therefore, while we talk technology, while we talk systems, I've seen the biggest change has happened when adoption has been driven, right? It's not so much the technology. Technology has great benefits, it has great functionality. But how is it that you drive adoption with people on the ground? That's the big challenge. And therefore, how do you do this entire change management for new ways of working and using and adapting that technology to the various businesses processes that you have, right? So I think going forward, there's going to be a lot more emphasis on looking at driving adoption and looking at technology not just as an enabler, but as a very core fundamental part of the business.
Yeah, thank you very much. Naman, share your thoughts.
Yeah, so overall I agree with Anand. I think the market is going to explode, especially if you look at grocery, right? Given it's a large market, I think the online penetration today is close to like 2-3%, while other categories in India have leapfrogged. And for example, electronics will be at 40%, food will be at 25%, grocery is still at 1 to 2%. So there's going to be massive overhaul in terms of adoption or digitization. One of the key areas that we are working on also is ONDC, which is kind of working on digitization of retail and bringing commerce, democratization of commerce. So they're bringing a large number of users online, as well as they're bringing a large number of sellers online. The penetration on sellers is very, very low today. Even on the user side, today, I think in India, like 16 crore users do commerce online versus 70 odd crore have internet and 50 crore kind of browse content online. So there itself, there's a huge runway, right? So there's a lot of digitization that's going to happen. That's going to drive a lot more commerce. Omnichannel will go up. The other thing is that the penetration in metros today is low, but that will fast track a lot, very fast. But also in tier 1, tier 2 cities, there will be a lot more activity that should happen. And a lot more users will start using. And so omni-channel, online, commerce exploding, all of those things is what I think will happen as we go ahead.
Thank you. Manish, what's your like attitude towards the market perspectives?
See, use of technology in businesses. I think most of our panelists are talking about technology being used from a consumer point of view. I would like to add one more dimension. to this. I think the big revolution which is right now happening is use of technology at a very, very basic, even at a village level. Now, as a organization which is dealing with dairy products, we are dealing with milk which is sourced from a basic farmer who has 1 or 2 cows or buffalo or cattle at his disposal. He comes and gives us 3, 4, 5 liters of milk on a daily basis. Now, how do you connect that farmer to our system so that that farmer has the ability to see his account and is convinced that what he's giving to us is going to, materialize for him in terms of payment. So today, if I look at our kind of organization, we deal with almost 50 lakh liters of milk on a daily basis. We are connected to more than 8 lakh farmers across 25,000 villages across India. I'm happy to say that 99% plus farmers today, we are connected through direct bank transfers. Once we collect milk from that farmer, the farmer is receiving a message saying very clearly, this is the amount of milk you have given, this is the quality of milk you have given to us, this is the amount which is due to you. Now this revolution, I think, is a very strong revolution to come into India because you're connecting the grassroots to the organization, and there is a huge transparency which used to be missing in the earlier days. And as an organization, once we have that kind of a transparency, connecting that milk to the consumer on a daily basis, where the freshness of the product, right in the manufacturing system, doing the test of the milk and making it very, very transparent so that there's a traceability of that milk right to the source. And then obviously using channels which have been mentioned by my colleagues here to make sure that it is available at the freshness to the consumer. I think this whole ecosystem has undergone huge change in the last 5-6 years. And I think India, being in the forefront of technology, adaptation and localization, both has really given a lot of boost to the overall ecosystem.
Yeah, not technologies in itself, but transparency will enable this adoption. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Rahul, what's your prospects for the market?
Yeah, I think definitely technology is being adopted, on the back end and the front end. Thanks to what Manish is saying, yes, that the main challenges newer businesses are facing with farmers is that farmers themselves don't use any technology. They don't know how to use a bank account sometimes. They're not sending us a bill. So we are hoping, bigger companies, help us streamline all this. Them streamlining all and bringing technology at the back end is going to help smaller retailers, smaller business owners to also use that, once farmers are a little more streamlined. I think everybody will benefit and the whole industry will grow. Also on the front end, I think, technology adoption is happening. Yes, definitely. But, all us food and grocery businesses are going to have to go hyper-local, in my opinion. Have more retail outlets. The more retail outlets you have, the better distribution, because margins are not going to allow delivery across areas, given, the product price and the margins that are there. That's basically my take on it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the summary. Sachin, what's your view?
I think most of the challenges they have covered, but I would like to mention one challenge which is very important, that is attrition. Attrition is one of the major problem in retail. And that too, it happens primarily because there is less, learning and development is not that good. So I think when we are talking about technology, let's build something around that also. I think that will really help, because if you say right now it's about 15-20% again, the attrition, and every time, if somebody is going to deliver the item, there's a new face. Particularly in a format like Nature's Basket, personalization is very important, and the consumers, they don't like to see a different faces every time. So I think that one segment we should definitely work on, as a technology. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, dear panelists. I think it was a great and insightful conversation. Hereby we call it, so we are closing today's panel. That's it? Yeah, I guess we can take a group photo.